So California businesses take on Gavin Newsom over tax hikes. This is kind of interesting. Tom, I'm going to come to you first, and then I'll come to Jesse about the restaurant stuff as well. So California businesses take on Gavin Newsom. A coalition led by California Business Roundtable is actively challenging Governor Newsom and Democratic lawmakers over tax hikes in California. The proposed Taxpayer Protection Act, requiring a two-thirds voter majority for local tax increase and rollback recent hikes, reflects a significant shift akin to 1978's Proposition 13. Rob Lapsley's president of Roundtable emphasized the urgency. The business community is fed up. About times you guys did something, and they recognize that if they don't do it, nobody will. Proponents argue escalating taxes are driving businesses away. Governor Newsom, however, warns of dire consequence, stating the proposal would decimate funding for basic services such as trash collection and firefighting, highlighting potential budgeting hurdles. Local officials feared the initiative's passage could revoke crucial tax increases like Walnut Creek's half-cent sales tax, endangering projects like additional police officers and library hours. While this is happening, New York Post comes with a story. 2 days ago, same day, Governor Newsom, the restaurant he owns, offering jobs at $16 an hour, despite new state laws, are $20 an hour for workers. So Plump Jack Cafe, a restaurant partly owned by Gavin Newsom, faces backlash for advertising a part-time busser position at $16 an hour, despite the new state law mandating a $20 hourly wage for fast food workers. Despite Newsom's disengagement from day-to-day operations following his election as governor in 2018, his business's jobs listing drew criticism from Republican Assembly member Joe Patterson, who questioned the inconsistency, pointing out the $20 wage requirement while fast food chain like Burger King in LA raised minimum menu prices to accommodate the increase. The wage gap raises concerns about affordability, et cetera, et cetera. Tom, your thoughts on what's going on with Gavin Newsom in California?
Well, look, bad policies have consequences, and bad leadership, sometimes it comes home to roost. We know, at least half of America is willing to admit, Gavin Newsom is a duplicit politico coming out of the Pelosi crime family who desperately wants to run for president. And he's been trying to make himself the shadow over the last year, just in case somebody falls down the stairs. And now we find out that he owns a business, and they're not even in compliance with the populist movement that he went out on the $20 an hour wage. And then it's not just a group of businesses. And this was a Wall Street Journal story that the Daily Mail picked up, but this came out of the Journal. It's the California Business Roundtable. That is one of the largest business groups, and it is largely independent. There are Republicans, Democrats, and independents that are business owners that are part of the Business Roundtable. It leans conservative, but it's got a very big tent there, and they are all coming back to the state saying, look, all these tax increases, 0.5% on this, 0.5% on this, disability tax on here. Anybody that's worked there has seen it. And now they're coming back and saying, hey, there's a revolt. And by the way, the revolt's not coming out of nowhere. These are the remaining businesses. These aren't the ones that have closed and people have left the state. So it's all coming home to roost for Gavin Newsom. He deserves these headlines that he's getting right now. And if people are paying attention, this is the guy that wants to be president.
Jesse, I know you love Gavin's policies. What are your thoughts about this wonderful governor's doing?
You're very good at math, so see if you can do this in your head. You probably can. If you're making $20 an hour to work at a fast food restaurant, right? Is that six figures? Are you making?
No. 40 grand.
50 is just two exits and add a few zeros.
Yeah. Okay, so
$40K a year, full time.
$40K a year.
Yeah.
So, and then if your husband or wife is also there, you're making $100,000 as a family.
Sure.
Both working at McDonald's.
80 grand.
That is okay. That's crazy. That is crazy, because that job really doesn't require much. So it's inflating the entire, labor sector
And the Happy Meal.
And the Happy Meal.
Unhappy, very unhappy.
Which I'm very unhappy about, but I believe Gavin Newsom will be president one day. The man is smooth. He's already currying up to the Republican side. You saw him go on Hannity. He dive-bombed a couple of Fox News events. He's savvy. And I think a lot of people are underestimating him. He had no facts on his side when he debated DeSantis. And he held his own. I mean, I think he lost, but he held his own.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of bad facts. So I think he's a real threat. He's got good hair,
Very good hair.
tall, got a nice looking family, a lot of California cash. He owns a vineyard. He sends people bottles of wine that he's trying to grease.
Oh.
I mean, he could be a problem.
But I tell you one thing.
Unless Barron Trump runs for president.
Yeah. But we got to wait 17 years for that, right?
Yeah.
But you know, one thing with California that I like that's happening now, the only thing is, why are you doing it now? Kind of like Jeremy Boring, the Ben Shapiro in Candace. Why don't you do it 5 months ago?
Right.
Why don't you do it 4 months ago? Why are you waiting till, it's like, one time I went to El Torito, and we had this waiter, and Sergio, and the manager's name was Jacopo. I'll never forget this. Jacopo was a 38-year-old guy, married with 3 kids. His wife didn't speak any English. He was the breadwinner. And Sergio was the one that I would go to. He would always give me that pumpkin seed dressing back in the days, the El Torito from Encino on on Ventura and Balboa. I was there 3 days a week. It was that good. It was great food. Anyways, we sit down with Jacopo, and Jacopo sits down with one of our guys, Tony, and he presents to him they need an insurance policy. Jacopo tells Tony, I know what you're doing, because he asked the question. God forbid, if something happens to you, what's going to happen to your wife and 3 kids, because she doesn't speak English and she doesn't have a job? Oh, I know what you're doing. You're trying to use the fear tactic for me. I'm 38. Nothing's going to happen to me, okay? We leave. Next week, we go to El Torito. Sergio is somber. I said, what's up, Sergio? Did you hear about what happened? No. Jacopo just passed away. I said, you're joking. No. I said, are you serious? He said, he just passed away. Wife, 3 kids, could have bought a $250,000 insurance policy for $100 a month. Nothing. Wife would have gotten $250,000. Zero. Gone to the wife. Looked like a regular guy. Never thought anything would happen to this guy. Gone, right? Sometimes when you're in California, lived there 20-something years, I know all the freeways in Southern California. I can drive there with my eyes closed. I'm probably not going to get into an accident if there's nobody in front of me. Going 165 miles an hour, which we'll never do because you're supposed to drive 65 miles an hour, right? Responsible. So, but I love California's weather. I love the relationships we built all those years of living there. The business owners stayed quiet for too long. Now you want to make noise? After having the net migration loss be number 1 3 years straight, I think it's 2 or 3 years straight, no one's even close to your number 1 state in the last 4 years for losing the most people. The first time California ever lost people since 1851 was under Gavin Newsom, and he did it back to back to back. Now you want to come say something.
Weird.
Got it.
Yeah.
Guess what, guy? It's too late, okay? It's too late. Go push forward. Don't let anybody discourage you guys from pushing forward. Go push forward, but you got to replace this guy. You got to realize that when you increase minimum wage to $20 and a Big Mac is now worth whatever it's worth, the average family cannot do anything with it. So you may say husband and wife are making $80,000 a year, 6 figures in California, working at McDonald's. That's nothing in California because of how high cost of living is. So California is been destroyed, not like it can't be saved. Somebody new can come in and change the policies. But the part that they have to take from this case study, don't wait for somebody else to do it. Be proactive before shit hits the fan. And now, for many, it's too late. Many businesses, you already lost Musk. You already lost Rogan. You already lost Toyota. You already lost a lot of people that left you and went to the other side, because if California and Texas had a baby, we know what that state is. It's Florida. Florida offers you the best of both worlds of California and Texas, and Florida's kicking.
California lost PBD?
Yeah, California lost a lot of people. They lost a lot of people. For the people that are watching the podcast today who want a signed copy of this book, there's 3. Here's what we're doing. Anybody who goes on vtmerch.com and places an order for $50 or more, a minimum of $50, you go to vtmerch.com, place your order. You can buy Future Looks Bright hat, whatever you may order. We're going to give you a PBD Podcast Future Looks Bright mug. We're going to put in a pin and a keychain, and 3 of you on Tuesday will do a raffle to give away those 3 signed copies, but you got to go to vtmerch.com and place an order for a minimum of $50. The first 100 will be part of that raffle.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.